Our next question comes from Karen. You talk about creating content. Do I have to create content for let's see. Let me read this and then translate it in my own English. Okay. You talk a lot about creating content. Do I have to create content or do I have to create content before starting my membership? Okay. So I think, let me just answer it like that. You talk a lot about creating content, Shane. Do I have to create content before I start my membership? Okay. You do need content in this order. Okay. If you look at the blueprint, the first thing we do is help you get your idea. The next thing we do is we help you turn that idea into a digital product. You have to have some kind of something for someone to do when they log into your membership. This doesn't have to be a lot of content. It can be 3 to 4 20-minute videos, right? But you've got to have something for them to do on day one that doesn't require you to be there live. So yes, before you launch your membership, you should have content in your member area, okay? So make sure you've got content in there. Content after you get your product done should be done like on a weekly basis. So you could have a blog post, you could have a podcast, or you could have a YouTube channel. You could post on social media. But you do need to figure out what kind of content you're going to create consistently over time and then start rolling that out where it's like, I do this, rain or shine, heck or high water, my content's coming out, right? Like Flip Lifestyle Podcast comes out on Tuesdays. We could skip a Saturday and I don't care, but Tuesday, there's a Flip Lifestyle Podcast coming out. Thursday, the Shane Sam Show is on your device. And if you're not listening to the Shane Sam Show, you need to. My guests are getting crazy. The guests are outrageous. Like the value that we're giving on the Shane Sam Show, I'm kind of questioning my sanity because they're almost courses like that we could put in our experts area. So you all need to be checking. We've been interviewing John Lee Dumas, Amy Porterfield, Pat Flynn, you name it. They're being on the show or coming. Dean Graziosi, they're coming on the show. So drop a link to the Shane Sam Show if anybody's not subscribed to that for Apple Podcasts, or go to shanesams.com. But you need to have some kind of consistent content. So the problem that we think it's a mistake for people to start like a podcast or creating content before they get the product done, right? We just see it so backwards. People build these audiences. It's the wrong audience. They don't know what their audience wants. They don't sell them anything. Like the wrong people are drawn in. So, it's just really like the backwards way to do it. And it feels intuitively wrong. It does feel intuitively wrong. It feels like you should be like, well, I'm going to start a website and see who shows up. Well, I'm going to start a podcast and see what happens, right? That's what it feels like, but that's actually busy work. You're just trying to do something to make yourself feel productive. That's not true, right? The product, everything works back from the product. The product informs your content, so you know what to talk about. So it's actually backwards, and you need to do that. I'm in that order. So don't get overwhelmed by this. Go into phase 2, I think, and look at the product course. And just go ahead and make your course. Put it in a member area. Sign up for Kajabi, stick it in there, and then let that problem you solve inform all the content that you create going forward, and you'll be better off if you do it that way. Okay. Content is overwhelming, guys, but you can only write one blog post at a time. You can only record one podcast at a time. You can only film one YouTube video at a time. So even though you're going to create content going forward, you're a publisher. Like, don't get overwhelmed. Just what's your next thing you got to do, your next piece of content, okay? I'm seeing all the love in there for the Shane Sam Show. Man, I'm glad you guys are finding that valuable. It's grown bigger than and more people are reaching. I got an awesome email yesterday from a guy that I have so much respect for and have no clue why I'm even friends with him. And he was like, man, I just caught the last 2 episodes of your podcast. He's like, this is blowing me away. It was the recent episode about community management with Shanna. What's her last name? I can't remember. Maybe post a link to Shanna's episode of the Shane Sam Show. And he's making his community members and his membership listen to it as a training. That's how good this podcast is, people. I'm telling you, these guests are nuts. And I'm just sitting here soaking it in, trying to learn from them. That's all I'm doing. So I'm just bringing you on for the ride. So if you have not checked that out, drop the Shane Sam Show for Apple Podcast in the chat box, guys. If you have not listened to it, click this link that's about to appear right in front of you. And go leave me a review. I'd love if everybody here would leave us a review. That would help us get it in front of even more people. So if you have not left us a review for that show, make sure you do it. Make sure you subscribe, download a couple episodes, and have a good time with that.